by him, looks at him and goes, "Oh man, nice bike." And boom, this conversation started. The guy started talking about his father, how they grew up together, worked on Harleys together, went the story back and forth. And I realized it had nothing to do with a Harley. It had everything to do with that connection.
Yes.
It had everything to do with taking an interest in somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
And the next day, speaking to teachers, said, tomorrow when school starts, you go through your list of the kids and the ones you know and their pictures and everything else. When somebody walks in your classroom, instead of saying, "Oh, good morning, nice to see you," if you say, "Hey, Rich, I hear the trigger. It's so good to have you in my class this year." That's a nice bike. With a Harley, it had everything to do with that connection. And as a speaker, when an audience nods or make a note, take a moment, there's something there.
Community, because we both love bikes. We're both enjoying the fresh air. What magical thing is it about community and communication that we can pull from this? I think there's a great community, really something else in the mind there that we miss.
Human beings are born to be connected. We're born to be part of a tribe, a group, a belief system, a spiritual belief. We need to be part of a family, a school. We need to be a part of something, because if we don't, we're right back in middle school on the outside looking in, waiting for somebody to wave us into their cafeteria table at lunchtime. In the meantime, carrying that tray of food, looking for a place to sit is the most horrifying moment in a little kid's life. A lot of us get out of middle school and high school and move on, but we don't really get out. We still have those feelings of wanting to be a part of something. So people need to belong. They want to work with a great leader. They want to work for an important cause. They want to know, here's the deal. They want to know that who they are and what they do matter. And if people know that who they are and what they do matters, and they're part of a team doing something important, boom, you got it.
So you spent most of your career helping with those connections, helping people find what that is. But what are the biggest barriers? What are the things that get in the way of those connections sometimes when you want it, you're trying, but it just won't happen? Okay, number one, technology, the cell phone. Yep.
Well, I mean, to me, the two greatest inventions ever to connect human beings, number one is right behind me, fire. Whoever came up with that one, bravo. I mean, hundreds of thousands of years ago, our ancestors sat around a campfire.
Yes.
And they talked about their beliefs and who they were and their dreams, and their fire was good. And the second greatest invention, these things. We're connected with people across the world at a moment's notice. We don't have to be at the high school 20-year reunion to keep up with people. But just as fire burns us, so do these. I mean, you spent some of your life in Minnesota, 30 years.
Yeah.
I remember I was at a restaurant not too long ago, and I walked in and saw a family of five at a round table together. They all had their heads bowed. And I thought they were doing a prayer, which, wow, I see that in the deep South, but not so much up here in Minnesota.
Right.
It's a nice thing.
Yep.
And when I got closer, I realized they weren't taking a moment to say thanks. They were all staring at their screens. And I thought, what a wasted moment. There's an expression about calling to break bread together. It's, why waste those moments?
Well, when you talk about the fire, how many great fire pit conversations have you had? Whether you knew people or not, by the end of the night around the campfire, you know everybody.
Right.
There is something magical about building that community, getting away from everything, but the warmth, the smell, the outdoors, sometimes those elements help us. What other elements are there that can help us build better connections, do you think?
I think, you ask about what keeps us away from way.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny. There's never been a time where we are so connected through social media, through the tech tools that we have.
Yes.
Yet it's like being on a raft in the middle of the ocean and dying of thirst. Because for whatever reason, people are so isolated.
Yes.
And there's a number of different reasons for that, depending on somebody's background, where they're coming from. But the real question is, as a leader, how do we bring those people in?
Right. Well, here, a recent study was done in Washington, D.C., where I currently live. D.C. was ranked the loneliest place in the United States. Now, think about the leaders, the influencers, the communities we have here. At the same time, the community rotates every 4 years at least because of the election cycles and who's in, who's out. How do you build connection?
I think one of the greatest tools a leader has is curiosity. To be curious. There's a great quote that changed my life by Barbara Jordan, a representative from Texas to Congress way back when. She was on 60 Minutes, and seriously, the quote changed my life. She said, "It's more important to be interested than interesting." So many of us feel that, and because as a Minnesota kid, and you spent 30 years here, as a Minnesota kid, I always felt like, well, to have people like me, I've got to be interesting. I've got to have something special out there. I got to prove myself so people can like me, so I can like myself. It's a stupid way of thinking. And when I heard that, it's like, because people from California and New York, they're interesting. They just are.
Right.
People from Minnesota, we're just chilled. We're just cold. We're
Minnesota nice.
Yeah, Minnesota nice. And so what she taught me was to be curious, to be more interested in others, to ask questions. I don't have to have the answers, but I have to have the curiosity. So for leaders to be curious, I'll give you a good example of that.
Yeah.
I had a grocery store called Fresh Promise that we went to for a long time. One of our baggers, a young gal named Gabby, high school student, and she was appropriately, her nickname was perfect. She was Gabby. She was a talker. Every article that went in the bag, she had a comment on. And I said, I was telling her, she was amazing. She says, "You really like this, don't you?" "I love it." "So what is it you like working about here?" And she talked about the manager of the store, that he took an interest in her, and for an award, instead of Employee of the Month, little picture on the wall, he found out that she was huge on dogs, loved dogs. That was her deal. And there was the dog whisperer. What's the guy's name?
Oh,
Caesar. Is it Caesar? Anyway,
Yeah.
Who's the dog whisperer? Anyway, he had a lecture in Minneapolis, and the store manager got tickets for her and her parents to attend the lecture as a way to say, "You're an outstanding employee, an outstanding team member. You're great with our people." Employee of the Month, it's nice.
Yeah.
But to know your people well enough to know what their triggers are, their hot spots, what would be cool for them, and to reward them in that manner, A, to take an interest because you're curious,
Right.
but B, to acknowledge them and honor them with something that's important to them.
So let's mind that. How do we do that better? Because the schedule, the meetings, the noise, again, the social media noise, how do you mind those relationships to get those insights so you can do what you said? How do we do that?
One person at a time. Like any other problem we solve, it's one person at a time of taking that interest. And more than that, of creating a culture where the rest of the team members do that. I saw this happen, especially, speaking in high school, it's the first 20 years of my career.
Yeah.
It's like a petri dish. It's like this great experiment. And that high school principal, I could speak at a school 1 year, come back 3 years later, and there's a new principal there, completely different culture.
Yes.
Because kids and teachers respond to leadership more than any other group out there, of what that leader can do. When that leader up on top creates that team of leaders that really go after everybody, following, number one, the core values. I think if you ask, go to any company, go to any store, go to any place, and ask them, "Hey, what are your core values of this company?" And it's an employee handbook. Let me go to the file, see if I can find it. Right.
Right. Yes.
If you go to Culver's, Craig Culver out of Wisconsin.
Yes.
The hamburgers, fast food. You go into a Culver's and ask them, hey, what are your core values here? Go up, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And boom, boom, boom. They'll give you their 4 core values right off the top.
Yep.
Culture. So it's so important to Craig Culver at Culver's, his name's on the business, that he has every manager, every store manager, every team leader know the core values and continually, hey, this week it's core value number 1. Let's talk about that this week, see how we can pull it. Going back to the core value, it's the moral compass that every leader needs. So I think as individuals, next time you're on a plane or next time you're chatting with somebody at a reception or someplace, go, hey, I'm just curious. What are your core values? Because I had that happen to me, Rich.
Did you?
Oh, I was in Las Vegas. I was speaking at a big event, and the sound tech in Vegas. You've been in Vegas where
Oh yeah,
it's a big set. Somebody's working sound, they're doing lights, and this guy was the guy. Vinny grew up in New Jersey. What are the odds of that? And he personally, Mike Frank Sinatra's last show in Vegas, 4 presidents. I mean, the guy was the guy. Great stories, but in the middle of it, he looked at me and said, "I'm just curious. I'd like to ask people this: what are your core values?" And I stumbled. I went, to be nice, leave the campsite better than how you found it. And on the flight home,
yeah,
and he showed me a tattoo on his arm.
Yeah,
Respect, honor, loyalty. What he said after that was so good. He said, "These are my 3 core values.
mm-hmm.
Whenever I have a difficult decision, I glance here, and the decision becomes easy." I sat on the plane and I took out a Sharpie and I wrote down my 4 core values that I live by. And so I think, how do leaders connect with their team?
Yeah.
Well, number 1, what's their moral compass? What's their base? Do they know what their own core values are? And does the company, the team, do they know what the core values are? So we talked about the 4 things about where we're going, how are we going to get there?
Yeah.
You care about me, and are you with me in this journey? I think the number 1 question is, do we know who we are?
So I have spoken on this in leadership circles. I've gone on retreats. I bang on this thing that we're talking about, the core values. They don't know them. They don't apply them. And one of the reasons I talk about core values is if you do have a tense time, your core values should guide you through that tense time, whether it's respect, whether it's honor, integrity, things like that. You can talk about the pain points because you have those foundational principles to help guide the conversation. We're not going to come unrailed. We're not going to, lie to each other. Integrity, truth. It helps in so many different ways, but with leaders, they don't impress upon people who learn and believe in these values across the board, the entire building, the entire office place. Why are leaders afraid to do that? Is it fear?
I think sometimes the obvious gets right past us in life. It was like, of course I have core values. I had never sat down and really thought about it and stated them. But when Vinny asked me that question, it was a stop, drop, and think. And so I think, step number 1 is because A, to take the time to really think about it for yourself,
right,
and how important it is. But B, there's a difference between the leadership team saying, hey, everybody, here's our core values.
Right.
Adopt them. Versus, hey, everybody, what steers our ship? What's our rudder? What's our moral compass? What do you think our core values can be? And maybe they won't use the word integrity. Maybe they use a short phrase that means it, about to be honest and kind to each other. I mean, when the team comes up, people tend to support that which they have input on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so to have the team give us their input on what these core values are so they have ownership in it, then we'll support it. So it's the leader trusting their team to be as smart as they think the person that they hired. Put some faith in your people, and they'll bring that faith back to you. I mean, that's, again, human connection. There's my first time up in Alaska speaking up there, I remember talking to somebody and they said, our attitude in Alaska is real simple. We treat people like they're a valued human being unless they prove to us that they're not. Ooh. Because you might be up here and you might be stuck somewhere in the snow and the ice and everything else, and it's life. Your life depends on it, on others and the kindness of others. And we We assume you're a good person unless you prove it different.
Now, what are your 4 values? What are the 4? Is it 4, 3? What are your core values for you?
You know, it's different for everybody. It could be 3, it could be 5, it could be words. But one is campsite. I believe in that. Leave the campsite better than how you found it. The world should look better behind us than it is in front of us.
Mm.
The other one is loyalty. I believe in loyalty to a fault. I've been with State Farm Insurance for 35 years. I could save a ton of money with Geico, but Jim has been loyal to me. I'll stay loyal to him. Old Spice. I still wear Old Spice. Very, very expensive. Grandpa wore Old Spice. Dad wore Old Spice. I mean, married to Susie for 48 years to the first part. So I believe in loyalty. I believe in the campsite. I believe in loyalty. I believe you got to earn it.
Mm.
My third core value is to earn it. I think you need to pay your dues. Life's not free. Nothing's free. You got to earn it.
No.
When you step in front of an audience, when I step in front of an audience, it's not assumed that, I'm just going to do great.
Oh,
you have to earn that audience from the moment you're introduced to the moment you walk off the stage, because their time is the most valuable thing they have. Don't waste their time. And the last one I have is to connect. Be a part of something. Take a risk. Be a part of something. So campsite, to earn it, to be loyal, and to connect. And that tends to guide me.
Now, when it comes to this whole leadership, communication, connection, you also use humor very effectively. Is humor part of one of the missing elements of this leadership connection equation, or is that just something personal to you that you love?
Let's go back to Eisenhower and Patton.
Yeah.
And I don't think either one of them had a sense of humor whatsoever.
Not that I saw much.
They weren't Will Rogers at the time, nor Robin Williams or Shecky Green. I think humor is a great device, a great tool. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like you, I've sat in the audience before I stood up to do my presentation and listen to CEOs. Some are just naturally funny.
Yes.
They see life in a certain way and they share those observations, and it's funny. They state the obvious and it's funny. They're just naturally funny. Others have heard, well, you should use some humor. And they tell a joke and it's horrible. And the audience laughs out of, oh, geez. We better laugh for this person up there. Is humor a great tool? Of course it is. But like anything else, sometimes you have a gift for it, sometimes you don't. So stick with what you have. People would rather see honesty than somebody that's not honest but is really funny.
Now, the other thing that you use heavily is storytelling. This is another area that when I work with leaders, I see them really, they're weak in storytelling. They don't take you on the roller coaster. They don't have any story arc. They don't even have a meaning sometimes. They just have to fill the gap because I was told I need to have a story. How important is storytelling today in this communication, heart connection world that we should have?
I think it's everything, Rich. I mean, you teach it so well. You're one of the experts at it. And you know how important it is. But I really learned this when I was speaking to high school students. So you have a gymnasium full of 2,000 kids. And sometimes teachers would be seated with them. Sometimes the teachers would be standing by the door and you're in a lion's den all by yourself.
Yes.
And I noticed that when I would just be talking about something, you'd start to see the lights going out in the audience. And the moment I entered once upon a time world, the moment I told stories, my audience came back with me. So to me, a great communicator, take any of our great communicators or politicians. I mean, Ronald Reagan is always looked up to as one of the greatest speakers as a president. Mm-hmm. If you go back, he was always telling anecdotes, telling stories, creating images and pictures and emotions. Very descriptive in his talk. And so a story doesn't have to be a 4-minute piece or an 8-minute piece. It can be that shining city on I forget the phrase. It was a great one.
The shining city on top of the hill?
Yeah. I mean, it's to create these word pictures.
Yes.
And so I think in my presentations, I'll have a point.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have stories that support it.
Mm-hmm.
Case studies, story, varying lengths. And to wrap it up, the summary, the reason this is important to you is because that's a transition. That's where your real teachable moment is. And it has to be succinct. It has to be bam. So here's the point. Here's the stories, endnotes, case studies to support it. Here's why it's relevant to you. And bam, that's the transition. And it's not a memorized piece. It's a from the heart, from the head to your people. I think that's what's effective.
So transitions as a broadcaster, we're doing play-by-play. Then they give you a card to read for a Toyota commercial. You have to know how the transition to make that all sound smooth. It sounds like you were in it, man. You didn't skip a beat with the game or anything. I think transitions that you're just talking about with leadership and communication, that's an art unto itself. And I don't think leaders even realize how important that transition, that hook is. How can we help them to understand? Because storytelling, a lot of these things are talked about a lot, but transitions I do not think are talked about in leadership circles to help you be a better communicator.
Oh, that's a great question. That's a great observation. It's one thing to tell the story, but it's the what's in it for me.
Yes.
I mean, I think you have to look at every audience member out there with that. I was taught early on, there's this little button you put on people's heads that says, so what?
Yes.
Right? Saw a show on Broadway where the main character was yada, 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 yada. And the person sitting next to him said, hey, let me know when you get to the part that's about me. Right? So I think all of our audience members, all of our team members
Yes.
are doing the same thing. Let me know when you get the part that's about me.
Right.
Acknowledge my needs. What's my part in this one? Happy for you, but how about me? And so I think it's just, here's where we're going. The story is to support that point, but then the real transition is the most powerful part of a presentation.
Yes.
And that's the one-line summary. And matter of fact, in my presentations, it's peppered with, the reason I'm telling you this is because
the application side.
What this means to you is, now a lot of you sitting back right now saying, so the point is, I mean, I literally say that in my presentation.
Right.
You're sitting out there saying, what's the point? Is there a point here? Yes, it is. Here's the point. And that's where you just really can drill it home. And I think succinct.
Yes.
It's a scalpel, not the big bat that hits it.
Well, and that's where we're going to write it down in their little booklet. So, I mean, you said, here's the point. Ding, write this down. Here's my takeaway. And I think, again, leaders really need help in this area. The transition, the story flow, to keep them going for 40 minutes for a 2-hour boardroom. God, please, no more 2-hour boardroom meetings, please. Shorter, more succinct, and more compelling with this story and human connection.
I think, we said, what are some great tools for connect with others? Number one is curiosity.
Yep.
Number two is acknowledging others for who they are and what they do. And number three is to communicate in a way that, I mean, look at it this way. We've both heard a ton of speakers in our life. And I'm a bit more jaded on this, I guess, because I've heard so many. Some I absolutely love, some I go, eh. But the real kicker is a week, a month, a year later, what did that speaker say? And why was it relevant to me? Because so many times you'll be at a convention, a speaker, and you ask people, well, how's the speaker? Oh, they were really good. What were their key points? It was good. It was, they were entertaining.
They talked about leadership.
Talk about leadership. So, well, I think whether it's a speaker on a stage, or a CEO, or a team leader,
yes,
a week from now, what message do I want my people to hear, understand, and take action on?
Now, there's another part of this human connection side that there's a thread in the needle here. People want to be connected, feel it's an authentic connection. So leaders now have to reveal a little bit more of themselves. They have to share their own personal journey, their foibles and pain points or doubts and questions. How do you do that without crossing over the line in either revealing too much or making yourself look weak to the people you're leading?
That's a great point, because I know that's isn't that a kind of a real Brene Brown type thing of vulnerability?
Yes, and it's growing everywhere right now. Yeah.
And I saw, you can see CEOs that are coached in that realm.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, thread the needle. You hit it. It's a fine line between sharing a part of yourself where you've come from,
Yes.
to be able to identify with the audience, and going way too far
Yes.
on who you are, and we're, we don't need to know that. It's fascinating, but we really don't need to know. And so, what's appropriate?
Right.
I mean, I look at what people share on social media, on Facebook and things, and you don't have to share every aspect of your life.
I don't need to know what you ate every evening at dinner time with your dinner plate on the camera. I don't need to know that, right, Mark?
I mean, I heard a great quote from a friend, Bill Bacharach. We were at a conference room in a meeting, and Bill, people are just yapping. And Bill raised his hand and said, "Hey, everybody, just because it's in your head, it doesn't have to come out of your mouth, okay? Let's try some filters for a little while here and move this thing along."
Yes.
So, yes, being vulnerable, being human is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think let's go back to the first 4 questions that every leader should have. Where are we going? How are we going to get there? You with me on this? And do I care about you? And if you can demonstrate those 4, you can lead a team.
Which is easier? The speaking to the school assembly or speaking to an assembly of CEOs for you?
When I was younger, speaking to CEOs was incredibly intimidating, and I loved my high school audience. Today, a group of CEOs is incredibly fun, and high school students are incredibly intimidating. So, as your life and expertise changes, your audiences change too.
Mark, we're going to bring up your website here. I want people to take a look at this, get to know you better. What are they going to find when they head on over there and scan the QR code?
They'll see my messages on connection. My messages, you'll see our videos, some of our videos that we've done, and resources that are available to them.
Make sure you go check it out.
Why you have a QR code? That's so cool. I don't even have a QR code, and I have mic envy. I have this tiny little thing right here, and if I had a mic like yours, I could rock it.
We can hook you up, man.
I gotta get a better. I gotta get a better.
That's what we do here at Rock the Stage.
Yeah, I gotta get a better mic. I tell you.
So before I let you go, I do have a couple of fun little questions. I do something kind of unique every time to get to know you more, to take a step deeper inside your mind and your heart. What's your most surprising or funny connection moment you've had on the road? You've traveled, you've spoken, but what's been the funniest incident that you remember? Like, I did not expect this to happen.
Oh, I wish I was ready for that one. Actually, it wasn't the incident. It was what happened afterwards.
Okay.
One of your guests was Scott McCain, who I absolutely adore, a Cabot Award winning in the speaker's world, Hall of Famer. But we got into a bit of an argument at a convention together because we were talking about things that have happened to us, funny or good or bad. And I had a gentleman that was in the 3rd row that kind of fell over. He kind of fainted in the middle of my presentation. And McCain said, "Well, I had a guy that died in the back row." I said, "Mine's much worse." He said, "What are you talking about? My guy died." I said, "My guy just fell over. Everybody could see it. Your guy's in the back row. He died, unfortunately, but they couldn't even notice. They didn't see what was happening back there." So it wasn't really what happened. It was tragic for both of us and for the gentleman involved. But it was us comparing notes about which one was worse. That's horrible. You can take that one out later on.
No, One final one before we let you go here today. You're known for that humor. You're known for all the heart talk that you do. If you could have one famous comedian, dead or alive, join you on stage, who would it be to help that comedian help you share about connecting with the heart through humor?
I saw Jerry Seinfeld in Minneapolis. I was in the fourth row. And for the first 15 minutes of his show, I didn't laugh because I was in complete awe.
Really?
Of Jerry Seinfeld. It was because he is so amazing at his preparation, his writing, his understanding of humor. I'm terrible at telling jokes. I have one joke in my entire presentation that's a joke. Other than that, it's observation humor. I don't try to be funny. Yes. It's just some things that I say are funny. You had Tim Gard on your show, who is absolutely amazing. Tim's incredible. But Tim understands humor and sets it up and knows why it works. I just say things that might make people laugh, and sometimes they do. And then I say it again, and people laugh again, and I stick with it. So I don't understand what works or what doesn't work or why it works. Mm-hmm. I just know that what I'm seeing and feeling is probably very similar to what other people are seeing and feeling. And when we share those moments together, a revelation of, hey, did you notice that? And people go, yeah, and they laugh. So it's not that you have to be a famous comedian to understand humor.
Yeah.
It's to look at life and see what might be odd or different, or if it's funny to you, it's probably funny to a lot of people.
I totally agree. What would be the best way to land the plane today for you? Help us with the best advice you could give to bridge that gap between talking and truly connecting.
I'm going to go back to the quote that I used from Barbara Jordan. It's more important to be interested than interesting. If I'm on an airplane or at a reception where I don't know people, I'm curious. I don't like talking about myself off stage very much, but I'm curious about other people. I want to know their story. And when I ask people questions, whether it's for a short visit or a long plane ride, 9 out of 10 people answer every question I ask them, and we have a good conversation. 1 out of 10 says, hey, how about you? What's your story?
Right.
That's called a conversation. So I think one of the greatest tips for people out there to communicate with others, be the 1 out of 10. Be the one that says, hey, how about you? What's your story? And acknowledge others. If you go to the airport, TSA has a sign up that says, if you see something, say something. It's on the good side of life too. If you see something, say something. Acknowledge others, honor them, and connect with them. That's the real message.
Mark Scharenbroich, thanks for being on Rock the Stage tonight. You rocked it. Beautiful. Thanks for your time.
Great spending time with you, Rich. It's been a hoot.
Mark Scharenbroich, again, you want to hit that QR code if you're watching this. You want to go learn more about him. He's an author. He's a speaker and a leadership communication expert. And I want to go back to the beginning again to talk about this is about making deep connections. We can all make shallow, quick connections. We can all bang, bang, bang and say, I got 500 new friends and likes on social media. What Mark is talking about, what we're talking about, is making real connections that make a real difference in people's life. And as a leader in the world today, people are so lonely. They're craving for attention, but not just attention. They're craving for connection from you, the leader, to know you're in it to win it with them. Think about it. Come back next week. We're going to do it again. We'll be right back here Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time for another edition of Rock the Stage Show. Join us and share your thoughts on what you got out of this episode when you see it and we replay it. Until next week, I'm the Trigger, Rich Bontrager. We'll see you next time on Rock the Stage Show.